Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Little Wood Shop, our Sunday evening blog. My name is Steve, and without further ado, let's get going. Okay, for our tutorial today, our topic is GIMP, Inkscape, and CAD. Alright, what you see open here is a copy of GIMP. GIMP is a free, open source raster image manipulation piece of software. To me, GIMP is very much like Photoshop. However, it's open source, so I do not feel by any stretch that it has the full capabilities of Photoshop. But for what we do up here in this shop, I can't beat the power of GIMP, and the fact that it doesn't cost anything allows us to divert money into other areas where it's going to be more helpful to the shop itself. Okay, well, much like any other software, once we open it, we're going to go up to File, and we're going to open up the file that it is we're looking to work with. Okay, now we'll go into My Documents, and there it is, GIMP, Inkscape, and CAD. Here is the image that we want. We're going to open it up. Alright, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting this gentleman out, holding this flag. For the sake of the tutorial, I am not going to use pictures that my clients submit to me. I told you we value the privacy of our clients, and if I were to use them, or you were to think about using maybe some of your clients' projects, just call and ask their permission first to make sure they don't mind. But in this case, for the sake of the tutorial, this image is going to work out just fine, okay? Well, the first thing we have to do once we bring the image in is we need to go up to our layer. We need to click on our layer. We need to come down to transparency, and we want to add alpha channel. We want to add an alpha channel. Okay. So some of you right now are going, Steve, what's an alpha channel? I am going to read this back to you out of Techopedia. We'll try to keep this, again, as short, as simple as we can. An alpha channel is a color component that represents the degree of transparency or the opacity of a color. Red, blue, green, yellow are all different channels, okay? It is used to determine how a pixel is rendered when blended with another pixel of a different color, okay? That is about the best explanation I can come up with you for an alpha channel, okay? In order to cut this gentleman out, what we need to do is we need to come up to our, it used to be called the lasso tool, I believe. Now it's called a free select tool. I actually just upgraded this to version 2.8.2, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but it is the latest version that we have. I believe the older versions did call it a lasso tool. Alright, one of the first things I want to do is I do want to make this image a little bit bigger. Excuse me, I'm going to come up to View. We're going to look at Zoom. And we're going to zoom in. Alright. With our lasso tool, we're going to start down here at the bottom. Now, as we're going, we're dropping points. On the straighter areas, yes, you can just run the whole thing right out. But on the shorter areas, no, you really can't. We need to take our time going around this as well, okay? When you get up on tight curves, don't be the least bit afraid. It's just a left click with the mouse. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue up and around. Now let's say you have an accident and you drop a note in over here. Get your pointer over him, hold down your left mouse button, and just push him back into where you want him, okay? We are going to try to follow him the best we can. We're going to try to keep the radius on his shoulder good. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep going around and dropping all these anchor points right around the whole image, okay? I will not make you sit through all of this. So what we'll do is we'll just pause the video real quick. I'll go around and get him all marked up, alright? And we'll be right back. Alright, now that we have got our line all the way down, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to highlight, if you can see it down on the bottom, we see our, basically they're like a node. This one's lightening up, or turning yellow. That was the very first node that we put in, that's our starting point, so we click right there. Now you can see we have the whole image highlighted. The other thing we're going to do here real quick is we're going to zoom out. And I'm going to get him back down to normal size here. Alright, there we go. We have our U.S. Air Force gentleman with the flag here. And we're ready to remove him from the image. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to, let's move our toolbox out of the way. We're going to come down to Select. I'm going to click on Invert. Alright, the next thing that we will do in here is we will push Control X. And there we have it. We have dropped basically the background out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go on and we're going to save this image right here, right now. And we're going to move on to the next phase of what we're going to do in Inkscape, okay? Alright, one of the first things we're going to do here is we're going to come in and we're going to save the job. I want to save this. I do not want to have to go back through and re-outline this. We'll end up saving it here to, and let's just call this GIMP project. The other thing I believe that we can do here is that we can also export as. Now, when we go to export this as, the file sets that we have to choose from are all right here. Alright, one of the first images that I'm going to save this as is in fact an EPS. We're going to export him as that. Alright, the other thing I'm going to export him, we're going to export him as is, I'm also going to want him as a JPEG. We're going to export him as that. There's one already in there. That's fine. We'll replace it. Click Export. The next thing we're going to do is we're also going to come up and we're going to export this as a PNG, which I know we've got one right here. PNGs are our transparent imagery. Basically what I try to do is I try to create as much information for not only myself, but the other shop that's going to be involved. And I will click Export there. And we can click Replace. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to pause this real quick. We're going to bring up Inkscape, and we're going to bring in our next workable file that we're going to manipulate into an image to create our silhouette, which ultimately we will load into VCarve Pro or whatever CAD software you have, okay? Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. Alright, without further ado, the next piece of software that we're going to be opening up and utilizing is Inkscape. Inkscape is ultimately what I use up here. I like it even above and beyond the bitmap tracer that is in VCarve Pro, and I certainly think that Aspire has it as well. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to come up to File, and we need to open whatever, wherever your image is located, or you can simply just drag it in. Alright? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the image that we had cut out, get rid of the background on it, and the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything, I'm going to come in, I'm going to go File, and I am going to export, this in a couple of other different formats. Alright, we know we can save it as an SVG, but I want to save it as a PDF. Before we even touch this image, I am going to save it as a vectorized graphic image. So we're going to save it as a PDF. We will call this, let's see, we'll call it Soldier Soldier holding flag. Alright. And we're going to save it. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to come up File. We're going to save him as... What else do we want to save him as? I want to save him also as an EPS here. Again, we don't have to change the file name. The extension will change, but the file name will not. So we will save him there. We will also come up File, Save As. And the last thing that I will do is I will save him as a DXF, okay? Basically, DXF is the universal CAD file. Whether or not my designer needs it or not, I just make sure that I have it available. Again, I send more files than are necessary, but it gives the graph designer on their end everything and then some for what they need. And we'll click Save. Okay. Now, next, we're going to finally take and we're going to pull the pass out of him to make him something much like most of our other images. I'm merely looking to run the silhouette on this, the outside border. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm going to go up to Path. I'm going to come down to Trace Bitmap, Edge Detection. This comes in at 550 or 650. I crank this right up to 850, 950. We'll update it, and we're going to click OK. All right. I am now going to pull him in, and I'm going to end up saving him now. And let's just call this Soldier Outline. And I want to save him as a PDF. I'm going to save him there. Click OK. We're also going to save him as an EPS. Oh, an EPS, not an EMF. We're going to click Save. We'll click OK. We're all sitting here for the moment. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this into CAD. I'm going to show you how it all goes together, how it works, and basically how we do it here. And then I'm going to show you the outbound files that we're going to put together in a package, and we're going to ship off to our graph design individual so as the actual photo itself can be printed out on a big commercial plotter. Because again, a standard home printer isn't going to do what we need to have done. Okay? Hang on, folks. We'll be right back. All right. Well, now that we have gone through GIMP and we've gone through Inkscape, it is now time to pull our project into CAD and work it. All right. First thing we're going to do is we had saved this as not only an EPS, we named it Soldier Outline, but we also did it as a PDF. Now, before we get started, I would treat this like any other job, provided I go to the right tab. Set job dimensions. For the sake of this video, we'll do this one at 24 by 24 point. Now, in the case of me doing a stencil for my client, I would max this out at 50 inches tall by whatever the width of my machine is, or for the most part, my client's pretty comfortable with like 48 by 24 is basically the outcome of their silhouettes, okay? But for the sake of this video, we're going to set the job size at 2 by 2. If I was running this, I'd be doing it on 750 thousandths MDF medium density fiberboard. I always start my datum from the middle. Units of measurements are inches. And we click OK. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in either the PDF or the EPS. It doesn't matter. That's the PDF. And if I were to drag in the EPS, okay, we basically have the same thing. All right, I'll just pull one out. I'm going to highlight him, making sure that I'm in Edit Object Selection mode, holding down my left mouse button. We're going to light him up. We're going to come over to Transform Objects, Align Selected Objects, and we're going to center him. Let's close out the window, okay? Let's come down to transform objects, and we're going to set selected object size. Now, in some cases, we click this off. We are going to click link X and Y because I want CAD to automatically adjust and make this symmetrical. So let's go on width. Let's see how this looks at 20 inches wide. Oh my, that'll work, but it's pretty big. Okie doke. So here's what I want to do. I want to come in here. We'll close this out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all the cabbage that we have, okay? I'm going to come in and I am just going to start deleting. Okay, I don't need any of this. None of it. So, with your selection mode, under Edit Object Selection Mode, just go through and highlight everything. As much as you can. Let's see, what else have we got here? Now, we're going to get into some areas that may involve us having to do a little bit of node editing. That is not the end of the world by any means. All I said I wanted before was this outline, alright? And that is basically what I'm shooting for. Now I'll come down and we'll just keep cleaning. Under your selection mode, highlight the boxes, click delete. Okay, I can get rid of him. If you light up anything, okay, that hits that outer edge or goes into your outer edge, unhighlight it and get away from it. We can take out his mouth, his nose, his eyes, the whole we don't need any of this. Again, all we want is the outer silhouette. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I am going to continue to clean up some of this little stuff. I'm not going to make you sit through all of this, alright? And then when we get all the little clutter out, we'll be right back. Alright, we have cleaned out all the clutter. Now, I told you, the one thing that we want is I want the outer rim of this. Nothing more. Okay, what we're going to highlight right here, right now, we can see there is the inner rim of his hat. Try to get this centered. Alright. If I click on this, it is no way going to affect the outer bevel. I'm going to hit delete. I am going to scroll down. I am going to look at this. Again, this does not touch my outer silhouette line. I'm going to hit delete again. What I have left right now is what I am exactly looking for. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and I'm going to create a cutout. That's all we need to do here. However, I'm looking at the size of this and I think that I would go back in right now if I wanted to hold this silhouette at this size, and I would clearly need a larger area. Let's go 25 point. We're not going to change anything else except the material size, only because I want to be able to have tabs around this when I cut it out. Alright, we're going to come back up to Profile Toolpath. I know that I programmed this for 3/4 inch thick, so we're going to go 765 thousandths. I am going to select a 1/4 inch end mill. Please set your feeds and speeds. I would say don't ever go by what I have here, because if you guys have a bigger spindle, you can run this faster than me. If you're running a smaller router, you're going to need to readjust your feeds and speeds for your particular piece of equipment, okay? Alright, I want to be on the outside right of this. I also want to show advanced toolpath options. I want to be on the outside, and what I am going to do is I'm going to put a 1/4 inch offset all the way around this. So if my widest point, we'll say, is 24 inches, it will now be 24.5, because it will give me the 1/4 inch. And what that does is that allows me to adjust the stencil just a little bit. It gives me a little wiggle room there. Alright? I'm going to name this cutout. We'll highlight it. come into your Add Tabs to Toolpath. Let's edit those tabs. I say that 10, readjust these how you see fit. Place these in areas as well that are not going to be a real pain in the butt to have to sand them out. You know, things that are in really crazy little areas. And feel free to add more if you you deem necessary. Just hold your little sign over and just left click, and you can add them where you want them. Right in tight corners, I don't suggest. Like I said, they are a pain in the butt to get out. But there we go. Alright, we're going to run the toolpath. Yes, we know that we're going to go through. We're going to click OK. Folks, there we have it. There is our outline. We can put our cutout in black. And there we have it. What I will do is I have no interest in saving this. What I will do, though, is we'll close this out. I'm also going to take, and I'm going to go up to my file. I'm going to come down to export, and I am going to not only export it as an EPS, but I'm also going to send this out also as a DXF. Now, as you can see, we already have a Soldier Outline EPS. We're going to call this Soldier Outline Revised. Revised, I don't care, you can call it in Revised in CAD. This is the one that we're going to send off. Because when I send this out to my my graph shop, my graphic design shop, they're going to get the measurement from off of here. They're going to basically pull this image in, and they're going to pull it up, and they're going to look at the object size. It is 20 by 23.6365. They're going to need that dimension, okay? That is why I send it off. All right. That about does it. Last thing that we'll do is we will pull in our file set. Now, these are all the files that we just constructed, okay? We started out with the original image. We saved our GIMP project all together, so if we had to go back in and rework it, we don't have to cut the outline out, which we rendered here. I also told you that we did a soldier holding flag in Inkscape. That produced us a DXF, a PDF, as well as a PNG from Inkscape. Then, this one is not needed. Then we went into VCarve Pro. That is the revised outlined EPS file that will go over with our other EPS file. And here is our CRV file, ultimately, for our VCarve Pro program. Now, that will pretty much do it for today, folks. I hope everybody got a little something out of it. Again, as always, if ever you have a question, please do not hesitate. Shoot us an email, steve@littlewoodshop.com. You can catch up with us through the social media, all the funny pages there, or by all means, go directly to thelittlewoodshop.com, and you can hit us through the mail system there, okay? All right, everyone. I hope you have a great week. I hope we have some really good temperatures coming up here for the weekend and all that fun stuff. But stay tuned for our Wednesday midweek shout-out. We have a better idea, hopefully, of what's going on then. And until then, everyone be safe. Get home safe to you and yours. And we'll see you Wednesday for the midweek shout-out. Bye-bye, everyone.